Hi, this is Pat Fiorello here with another lesson on painting beautiful flowers. Today I want to address the topic of painting roses, which is often challenging and sometimes intimidating for students. So wanted just to share how to think about approaching roses. Like anything that you're going to paint, what we're thinking about are painting shapes of color. So the first thing that we want to see is the shape of a rose. And there are lots of different roses, different types with different silhouette shapes, but we want to get a handle on the overall shape first. Then we deal with the form, meaning the light and the shadow areas. And then lastly, to the extent that you'd like to, you can add some details. The amount of detail that you put in is your own artistic choice. Some people want to leave the painting less refined and a little more abstract. Some people want to drive it to be fully realistic and get more details in. But we're always thinking about shape, then form, and details last. This is a painting that I did of some garden roses, and I'm going to take you through how I thought about capturing these roses on canvas. So let's take a look. Here was the original photo, and I had some light kind of coming from the overhead on the left. You can tell that by the shadow here. So I'm looking for where the light is, here, 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 and where the shadows are, which you can see a deep shadow in here, shadows here, shadows here, here. Sometimes I use a tool, either turn the photo into black and white on my camera or on my computer, or I use the Notanizer app, Notanizer. I believe it's available for both the iPhone and the Android. Or if not that, there are other similar apps that'll do the same thing. And they're basically either dividing the whole scene into all light or all dark, or you can get 3 levels or 4 levels of value. If you also have Photoshop on your computer, you can go into the posterize feature and simplify your scene that way as well. But here we've really got it down to, I'd say, like 4 values. So what I'm looking for, here's the light source coming in from here. And the roses are pretty much like a cup. If you take it to its simplest level, it really has a form of a cup. And so you think about it overall like a cup would get light on it, except that the rose is just much more complex because there are a lot of petal shapes in there that create cast shadows and different forms in different directions inside of the cup. But let's just take a look at a simple cup. And if we've got the light coming from the left here, you can see where there's light here rolling into shadow. And the inside of the cup here, if we see that part from our view, will also be light here because that light is coming inside. This part gets in shadow because this is blocking. So if you think about that overall, and you might have the cup being this way, this way, this way, depending on the orientation of your rose. But if you start with that simplest perspective, that will help you think about the overall structure of the flower. But what we're doing on this one, say the light source is coming from here, where is the light source hitting? It's very easy to see there's a big chunk of light here. I'm not worried about petals at this point. I'm really looking for overall shapes of light and shapes of shadow. There are pieces here of light that get clipped because they're sticking out, so the light that's being covered up here inside in the depth isn't reaching this part of the rose, but these that stick out are getting clipped by light. We're getting light here rolling into shadow. We're getting light on the tops here, top planes here, and then you can see where there's shadows where the light isn't getting to. So we're always looking in the beginning for the overall shape of the flower and then these light shapes. You can even connect shapes of light even though they are on different flowers. So we see where the light shapes are, we see where the shadow shapes are. Again, if you can get out of your mind of thinking of roses or thinking of petals or thinking of details and just squint your eyes and look for where's a big chunk of shadow, where's a big chunk or mass of light, that's going to help you simplify a pretty complex shape. You can see here there's shadow. In the very center of the flower, there's often a dark accent. You can see here, it's a little bit darker here, it's a little bit darker here, it's a little bit darker. And again, if you think of that cup and you've got it like this, in the very center, no light is getting in there. So that tends to be a little bit darker than even the shadow. And it's often a warm tone and often pretty chromatic. It's got, you know, a vivid, rich color there. It's usually pretty small though. And the color in here may be different than the shadow out here. But viewing it in white and black or 3 values of light, medium, and dark will help you simplify the overall structure or architecture of the scene. So anyway, I hope that was helpful in thinking about how to understand, how to tackle a complex subject like roses and bring it down to a simpler form. You're always thinking shape, like the silhouette, then the form, light and shadow, and then any little details, highlights, accents that you may want to add at the very end. So I hope that was helpful. If I can be of any further help, please reach out to me via my website, patfiorello.com, or on Facebook or Instagram. You can find me as well. Thanks so much. Bye.